go. Hello and welcome to episode 3 of We Should Be Writing, a special edition that has come off of the back of something rather major that is about to drop in the Sapphic community that we felt we probably should discuss. I don't even know where to begin with it, to be honest. It's a little bit mental, but yeah. We have a situation where an author in the community, well known, has been pretending to be someone they're not. So probably by the time you've watched this, the blog will be out and you will all know that the author is Sabrina Kane. And they have been misrepresented by a gentleman, we'll call him that, who is nothing like the character he's put forward as Sabrina being. And yeah, it's all kind of come out. So I'm going to let my two colleagues have a bit of a chin wag because they're probably more involved in it than I am in the sense of knowing where and what and why. So I'll hand over to Alison first and
yeah, okay.
You can have a little bit more of an explanation.
Yeah, so first and foremost, I know Sabrina Kane, as everybody does. I think she's been around for about 4 or 5 years now, maybe. I can't say that I had anything, any kind of friendship or anything. I knew her from online or whatnot. I'm involved because S.J. Hart, the author, messaged me a couple of weeks ago, asking if she could have a chat about something that she'd found. I know SJ, we talk a lot, so yeah, absolutely fine. I wasn't expecting it to be a folder full of evidence regarding Sabrina Kane or the person who was making out that they were Sabrina Kane. She brought it to me because she wanted another set of eyes to make sure it was sort of an independent investigation kind of thing. Because she'd been a beta reader for Sabrina, she didn't want it to come across that she was making trouble. She wanted to make sure that people were looking at this, playing devil's advocate to see if there was a possible explanation of how all of this evidence could point to Sabrina being who she was. And quite frankly, it just wasn't there. I then ended up speaking to Claire and Leah to warn them that there was something happening. And that's when I found out that Leah was part of Sabrina's, I say possibly friendship group, my beta group, but had gone into the friendship side of things. So that came, I presume, quite a bit of a shock, Leah. I'm not going to speak for you, but
massive shock. Yeah.
So the top and tail of it is that there's a gentleman who's in his 50s called David Wright, who appears to be Sabrina Kane. Now, in the blog, you're going to read, and I agree with this wholeheartedly, that it is not about a pen name. This is not a pen name situation. Authors all over the world use pen names for legitimate reasons, especially in our community where people do need to keep their privacy and security locked down because they don't feel safe. This is not the case. Not only did Sean could have simply wrote a book under a pen name and left it at that, but instead he pulled a bit of an Adam Gaffin, which was he created this whole world, this whole elaborate lie about him being a late 20s redheaded woman with a girlfriend, just a complete fabrication, and that just wasn't necessary. It's also
deep fake, isn't it? It's like deep in there. It's not just I've shared a little bit on social, I'm kind of quiet, I'm just kind of under the radar. No, it's this whole life, like people they hang around with and they go on holiday with, and yeah, it's crackers that you can think about that much stuff.
Yeah, it really was that deep, you know, to the point where he was sending out your group pictures of himself with his friends, which, as you'll read in the blog, turned out to be a model. You can reverse search the images, and it's actually a Russian model who does live in the US now. And funnily enough, there is a link between Sean and the model. He commented on her post a couple of times. So these pictures of Sabrina that she posted online claiming to be herself were not. They were a model. The pictures of
sorry, I just want to point out as well, obviously, because when I've said, oh, it's this model, everybody that I've spoken to in my life has been like, well, they kind of automatically went down, well, it's a model. Why would you think that person was who you were talking to? But she's not that kind of model. I mean, she's good looking, but it's not like
catwalk.
Skimpy long.
Yeah,
it's not. She's just, the photos are lovely. They're like,
and the photos that were chosen to represent Sabrina were very well picked out. They were not
everyday, aren't they?
Not clearly a photo shoot. They were part of the model Anna's life.
Yeah.
Yes.
Her posts are not just her model shots; they're part of her life as well, her family and whatnot.
Friends and going out drinking, and
that's it. And those were the photos that got sent. So you know that level of deception that Sean was at is quite unbelievable. I think we should preface it for people who have not read the blog yet that Sean did try and he did write 2 books prior to Sabrina being created, and the books are exactly the same as Sabrina's. Obviously, the books didn't take off under his name, and all of a sudden he doesn't write anymore as Sabrina does. So. But that's where the line should have been. If he wanted to carry on writing, it could have been under SD Wright. It could have been like that. It could have been S Wright. You know, and he could have continued to write under a pen name, and that's it. If that's what it was all about, but to create the girlfriend, the life, the pictures, all of it goes far beyond just wanting to write a book and wanting to publish.
You got like the comic strips and all that lot where it's obviously, I don't know whether that stuff has actually happened, but to create comic strips each week of your life. Yeah. And again, so deep into it, it's just like it's so thought out, isn't it?
It's really deceptive is what it is. Do you know what I mean? It's that it's not somebody who, you know, like my name isn't my name, you know, but I am who I say I am. I'm representing myself as the person that I am. I'm not pretending that I'm not, you know, I haven't got some husband hiding away in the background or, you know, you just, and there's plenty of male Sapphic writers out there. It's not like it's a big deal, you know, really. Like if you're a good writer, people will look past it.
That's where the big deal comes in.
I was thinking about that. But there are going to be some people who won't want to read that. And I get that. That's entirely the majority of people, so long as they know. Yeah. It's like, that's fine. Obviously, if it starts sliding into, it's more like a fetish kind of thing of.
And it's different. That's what I'm saying. If you're writing a good story and it just happens that it's about a lesbian couple or whatever, most people would be able to go, oh, that was well written and I enjoyed it, and you know, carry on. You're just exactly the same as like I've got quite a lot of straight people that read my books because they're not you know, they can just enjoy the story.
It's just like women writing books, you know. Not all gay men, a lot of them are women, straight women, you know, so it's completely acceptable. It's the deception and the lies and the trust violation that is not acceptable, and it creates mistrust within our community because now whenever a new author comes along who doesn't want to show their face or who writes under a pen name, it's instant mistrust because you just don't know who you're talking to anymore.
Even some authors,
I write under my name simply because I didn't want any misconceptions. This is me. This is what I write. I show myself online. I don't particularly like it, but I do. And simply because of that.
Yeah.
But not every
But even more, I mean, this author has been around for like you said, like 5 years. And even now, personally, I'm going to be wary whether that person's been around for a long time or not, unless I've seen you like this. And if you're going to send me photos, heads up, they are going to be scanned and checked and everything from now on.
Yeah.
It just puts you off. It puts you off being able to just relax and have a laugh and a joke with somebody, because you don't really know. I mean, we all know that. We're not naive. We know people pretend to be other people online. But when you've been in like a friendship group and you've chatted pretty much every day on and off, nothing deep and meaningful, just joking, messing about, and then you find this out and you're like, I think the first 24 hours I went from being absolutely fuming and searching everything. I was like, right, I need to find this myself. I need to find out what's going on.
Yeah.
Checked all the pictures, checked all the artwork, everything like that. And then I just felt this friendship had just gone. That's it. That person has died. They're not, and it's like, how can that person not be around anymore? And then I went back into, oh, right, fine. I'm just going to make sure that I've figured everything out from now on, and we need to sort this out.
Yeah.
But it's really hard when you've had that kind of friendship and it's just disappeared, and you've trusted that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the ultimate catfishing, isn't it? Let me pretend that I'm someone completely different. And because the thing is, your conversations in private could have gone down a very private kind of you start to think to yourself, well, I've been talking to this person for 3-4 years, I know them, I'm comfortable with sharing my life with them, and if I've got a problem, I might share it, I might want to talk it out.
Is like, who else have they been talking to? What has been said? Those people have trusted this person because they've chatted for a while.
And the Sapphic community is full of vulnerable people, and when they open up to you as an author, I think you have a responsibility, because they are giving a part of their lives to you. They're talking to you about things that are probably very difficult or very hurtful, and they're giving you that trust that you are the person you said that you are, and you're sharing the truthful information. So when you come across that you've opened yourself up to somebody who is just absolutely not who they say they are, and you have to remember that there's probably a lot of people in this Sapphic community who will be very wary of men for various reasons. So I can't imagine if any of those are the people that have been speaking to Sean, and all of a sudden they're going to find out they've been speaking to a 50-year-old man, straight man.
I think that's the ultimate, isn't it? Like you said, when you've been hurt somehow or something has happened and you think the person is a woman, you're chatting away, and then you find out it's a guy, and that's what concerns me the most. I'm not so much concerned about my friendship with this person, because
it's ended,
I was more angry. I was like, and also the fact his books have created their own community.
Yeah.
So because there's a character that runs all the way through, you've got the Court of Vanessa going on. You've got people on like Redbubble making T-shirts and all this stuff with logos on, and it's like a community within the community that is now going to be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Or they bought all the books. It's not sharing, but them all.
I would advise all of those people to do their own research as well, because this is going to come to a shock to a lot of people and almost unbelievable to some people. Yeah. So if by the time this comes out, Sean hasn't taken everything down, go online and do the research, do the Google images searching, and find out.
There's a lot of artwork, isn't there, that was pretty much a game changer and a giveaway.
How it kind of broke. So according to Sabrina, I think she was quite new to the art side of things, and she was a graphic designer. I'm not entirely sure, but anyway, a certain picture was artwork was posted, and SJ Hart looks at it and kind of thought that's top artist
Really
level.
good.
That's
Yeah.
really good. And that's what she did, the first reverse image search on that, and that's where everything came up about Sean David Wright. And from there, it was really cross-referencing and finding the evidence to show that he was posting old artwork and old photos as Sabrina, claiming to be her.
Yeah.
And that's where it all came. But
yeah, because the original worry or concern was that maybe Sabrina was stealing the art, wasn't
absolutely.
it? That was like the first cut thing, was that she was still a woman, she was still who she was.
Absolutely.
Maybe she was just nicking
There was
somebody's
a
art,
couple
which is terrible enough in its own.
There was a couple of explanations that everybody wanted to know. Was it just Sabrina stealing artwork? I think we ruled that out pretty quickly. Second, could it have been possible that David was trans? But from everything that we found, and if people want to go and look themselves, there is no evidence of that whatsoever.
Yeah.
Thirdly, David does have 2 daughters. One of them has got red hair. So we thought, is it possible that the daughter is Sabrina? But then
is it
when you look at the evidence, it can't be the daughter either. It's David posting, using part of his actual real life to incorporate into this fake one. So he's used truths in his own life, but it's completely fake to who Sabrina is.
Yeah. And that's always what a good liar does, don't they? They are managing to hold on to the lie because some semblance of it is true.
Yes.
You know, so what he was interested in like the Star Wars things, that is him. He's posted about that. The Lego, you know, the fact that he comes from the same place that his characters come from, and or that Sabrina comes from, or whatever it is, you know, these things are all matching up, which is why it's not just a case of, oh, I think there's something a bit dodgy here. This is, you know, properly well looked into, well investigated, and like everything lines up, all the ducks are in a row, you know, and it makes more sense that the truth is Sean David Wright is pretending to be Sabrina Kane.
Before the blog comes out, Sabrina was notified. A message was sent saying that basically we know that there's something really wrong going on, and we asked her to have the decency to admit to what they'd done online, to her readers, to fellow authors. SJ did get a reply back. It was complete gaslighting, and then we'd not heard anything from there. So she was warned that if she didn't come forward and be honest with people, that the evidence would be laid out for other people to judge.
Yeah.
So
because you know, there's a really, really easy way to prove that you are who you say you are, and that's to do what we're doing now, is to just pop a video out there, do a live video or whatever, or even, you know, even if you just did that to SJ or to you or whoever, but just say, look, this is who I really am. I don't want to be out there.
Even if SJ, Sabrina right now came online and it was her, there's still far too many questions that she needs to answer for, because the artwork is not hers. It's David's.
Well, absolutely, because that's what I'm saying. Is, even, you know, this person could easily prove they are the person in the pictures or whatever, the person that they say they are, but then the questions then become, so why are you using the artwork of somebody else? And, you know, why is this poor Sean David Wright's artwork being used on your, you know, so whatever way you look at it, whatever path you try to walk down to find the truth, it always ends up in, this doesn't really sound good. And it's just, I don't know. I mean, these things don't happen often in the community, but when they do, they tend to be quite.
Well, the last time was about 2 years ago with Adam Gaffin. He'd only been around a few months, and that was a huge deal. There was a lot of people who were really affected by that.
Absolutely.
So this time round, to have somebody who had been around for 4 or 5 years, and as Leah said, has created this entire universe of readers who have just completely been lied to and
hoodwinked,
completely hoodwinked. And
sorry, on the Adam thing, because he was commenting on some of her Facebook like when she was buying new comic books or whatever, that because she collects them. He was making comments and trying to have a conversation with her, and she would come into chat and be like, "Why is this guy trying to talk to me?" And everything. And at first we didn't recognise his name. It took a while, and I was like, "Why do I know that name?" And then we mentioned it in the group chat, and she acted like she didn't know anything about this. She didn't know what had happened. So we found the blog, sent it to her. She read it. The next thing, she was on her Facebook page, and boom, she was like ripping him apart and everything. It's things like that you look back and you go, I mean, there were little red flags.
Yeah.
But because you kind of think, well, am I just overthinking things? Like you said about not having photos online. I talked to some other authors. They don't share any of their life online. Yeah. But I have spoken to them. I've spoken on the phone. I've spoken on video. But even then, I'm not one of those people that will interrogate somebody. If I'm chatting, things will come up in conversation. That's great. I don't tend to overanalyze stuff because their private life is their private life. I'm there for the books.
And that's the point, isn't it? And that's why these people are able to slide under that radar, because for the most part, we do, understand that people have a private life. That just because somebody writes books or somebody's a TV star or a film star, or whatever, doesn't mean you're entitled to everything about them.
Exactly.
But on the whole, most people are able to at least prove who they are physically. Like, this is me.
On the flip side of that, Claire, for a long time, Sabrina wouldn't post anything apart from avatars and stuff like that. You can even reverse search them, and they come from Pinterest. Yeah. But anyway. And then all of a sudden, this artwork
appears that looks supposed to look like her. Yeah,
post pictures of herself, and all the comments are about how she's this gorgeous, tall redhead. It's all very sexualized. So she's gone from need absolute privacy to all of a sudden, oh, here I am, this beautiful Amazonian redheaded. Yeah. And it's kind of like
playing volleyball.
All right then, it went from zero to a lot all of a sudden.
Yeah. And so that can happen. Like people can, well, I mean, I think, people can grow into their confidence, but again, you kind of feel like, when I started doing this, the idea of doing a video like this was terrifying. I was like, not a chance in hell, never doing it, But then you get to a point where you actually feel a bit more confident about yourself. You feel like, oh, actually, people read my books. People know, they talk to me. They're interested in me. And then, a couple of friends say, let's do it together. And you're like, okay, it's not so bad when you do it together. And before you know it, you're doing it, and it's fine. You're out there.
Yeah.
But, I just 5 years of pretending that, I can't post my picture. I can't be out there. And then all of a sudden you're creating artwork that's very sexual and supposed to be looking like what you look like.
Yeah.
Kind of encouraging that sort of, have a little crush on me kind of behavior.
And that kind of in the chat was what, like, we would joke and mess about it, but that was kind of
a flirtiness to the conversation.
Screen, like we're typing, I'd be laughing, going, "Oh my god, this is an ego." Do you know what I mean? But joining because it was funny.
Yeah,
but that exactly what you're saying, Claire, is what it was. Kind of portrayed.
It's like,
and I'm like, "God."
Yeah, it's like being on a dating app, isn't it? And you see someone's picture and you think, "Oh, they're attractive, let me chat." And then the conversation goes a bit flirty, and then you're like, "Oh, this is fun." And before you know it, you're sharing information, you're talking to each other all the time. And then, "Oh, do you want to meet?" "No." "Oh, do you want to do a video?" "No." And then you start to think, well, what's going on here? Like, why? What's the point of this then? Yeah. And I just think, like, you might not want to put your stuff out there in the real world, in like the big scheme of Facebook and Twitter and all that sort of stuff. But if you're having a private group chat with people over the course of 2 or 3 years, I think, like, why can't you have a video call with that person, or have a voice note, or anything?
Exactly, a voice note.
Why would you be so scared that,
a voice note isn't about showing your face? It could have easily been something like that.
Yeah.
I wanted to move the chat to WhatsApp a couple of months ago because I wanted to come off X, and that was, and like the other person in the chat group was like, yeah, I'm fine doing that. That's great. The excuse we got, which I was like, fine, whatever, was something to do with she's always at her computer. She would have to keep looking at her phone. Could she get WhatsApp on the computer so then she could actually talk to us? Otherwise, she's going to have to stop because the screen was so tiny. And you're just like, what? Okay, fine, whatever. I'm not. My thing was maybe she doesn't want to have that. She doesn't want to give her a number. She doesn't want us to have stuff. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So part of me was kind of like, okay, fine, whatever. And the other part of me went, I kind of understood it as well. And it's that kind of playing on people, isn't it?
Yeah, because the thing is, actually, the honest thing to be would be to just say, do you know what? I really like you guys, but I don't actually know you, and I don't want my number out there. Thanks very much. You know what I mean? Like, I'm happy.
It's trust.
Yeah, but equally, you know, this person is on Facebook all the time, as Sabrina. Well, Facebook has Messenger, Facebook has video calls, Facebook has group chats. Like, you can do all of the same things that you do in WhatsApp on Facebook. That's what I would have suggested. I would have been like, listen, I don't want to hand my number out. I mean, I do because you've got it, but I don't want to hand my number out, you know. So, but let's chat on Facebook. Let's do this on Facebook. I really want to see you guys. I really want to actually be face to face and like, you know, have a proper conversation with people who I now consider my friends, you know. And it's we were
told once the reason why she doesn't share her photos online is because her and Katie are so good looking and there's some crazy people out there. And at the time, I've written it down, I was like, I remember my reaction to it was, again, what an ego. But then again, I was like, okay, I can kind of understand that. If you're getting certain messages, you've got to be careful. But I was just like, again, another little red brushed over.
Again, why nobody's asking you to put your girlfriend online? Nobody's asking for pictures of you with your girlfriend. You're suggesting that.
Nobody's asking for pictures of you in a bikini.
No, exactly. But she was happy to send those to you. So it's like, well, I'm okay to show myself in this sense of like, here, have a look at my sexy body. But I'm not going to put my face in a camera. Like that's, it's.
I mean, there were a few times I was like saying, well, what does Katie look like? Was Katie there? And she was like, oh no, Katie was taking the photo. And like you'll see one of them where they're sat around a dinner table. It's just a dinner table. They're all sat around. She even named who was there, what they did, blah, blah, blah.
Everybody needs a friend like this or whatever, wasn't it? Yeah.
And I used to joke and be like, oh, whatever Katie says, I agree with her. You know, it was kind of our backwards and forwards. I didn't agree with what Sabrina said. I always agreed with what Katie said. So then I was like, well, where's Katie? I want to see a picture of Katie. And we got all these excuses.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, fine, okay.
Because, you know, if you're in the public eye, as authors are to a certain extent, if you don't want your partner to be out there, don't put them on your socials. It's really simple. I don't, you know, when I've been in relationship.
You did a picture though, didn't you? Because you sent it for us to see. It was a picture.
Even when it came through, I was kind of looking at it going, I didn't think it was AI, but you know when you're looking at something, you're just like, it looks too personally
professional.
Well, for anybody who doesn't know, that it wasn't Sabrina, a girlfriend. It was Anna, the model, and another model.
Yeah.
So it was from a photo shoot. I'm not sure if that's in the blog or not. I know that not all of the evidence is in the blog simply because there's so much of it, and we didn't want to overwhelm everybody. But go online and have a look, and you will find it. It's out there.
Just crazy.
It is crazy. It is, and you know, I mean, like I say, I'm not involved in it as such because I think I've probably spoken to Sabrina Kane 2 or 3 times. I think we maybe have added each other, but you add everybody. Do you know what I mean? When you're in this game, like if people send you a request or you send requests, you just it's networking. But I just can't imagine how. I mean, you know, listen, I've been on dating apps and been catfished, you know, and I know how horrible that felt. And that was just talking to someone for a couple of days and thinking, oh, they're quite nice. And then realizing they wasn't. I can't imagine how it's going to feel for a lot of readers, how it feels for you, Leah, as someone who was a friend, you know, to have that level of trust just taken from you. Because for what? So he could sell a few books. And so he could...
sell some artwork, clearly,
Sell
because
some
there's
artwork.
webpage, well, on Sabrina's webpage.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing I can say, because a lot of people used to send things as well, like treats, biscuits,
Yeah, I've
bags,
seen those
whatever.
posts. Yeah.
The latest one was the sheriff's badge or whatever, and I just think those people have gone out of their way because they're a fan
Yeah.
and they want to say, we appreciate you and thanks for your books and all this kind of thing. And that's the other side of it that really gripes me. But the only thing I can say is, even when we were in chat, they never asked for anything to us anyway. They never bade out, oh, can you send me this? Can you send me that? I know there was a lot of that, I think, with the Adam stuff, wasn't there? I can't remember all the details, but
no, with Adam, he was. It was more to the fact that he was working with other authors. I was involved in that as well.
Yeah, you, Ali.
Yeah, for God's sake. I was writing for this anthology that I thought I was writing with a Sapphic author, and turned out to be Adam. It was more of a case of he was just trying to make as many connections as possible, and he was also he was also commenting on his own stuff to sell his own books, that sort of thing.
Yeah. I mean, I find it all, it's just despicable, isn't it, really? And because, like you say, I think I obviously, since we've talked about this over the last few days, because you guys have then come to me and we've all sort of gone, could it be true, could it not be true, whatever, and so you go and kind of like, okay, let me go and have a little look, and like you say, there's people that have sent stuff out, and it's like they're using it and making posts about it and going, oh, look at this lovely stuff that someone sent me, I've got a tea towel from here or whatever, and you're just like, yeah, someone actually went out their way on, because when I'm out and about, the last thing I'm thinking about is people online, to be fair. I'm, people I chat to, or authors or whatever, I'm doing my own thing. So the fact that somebody's out and about doing their business and has thought that much of you, that they've gone and bought a little keepsake that they could send you, and because I've had people say to me, oh, I've got something, can I send you something? And I'm like, no, thank you. A lovely idea, but thank you, but no. A, I don't want to give my address to people, but B, I'm not here for taking gifts off of people. If I go to a book event and somebody turns up and they say, oh, I heard you're a fan of, I know, Snickers, and they bought me a Snicker bar, I'll be like, that's lovely, thank you very much, and that's fine. If they say, oh, I know you're a fan of Liverpool, or you're a fan of Brighton Women, I saw this and I thought of you, and it's a little key ring or something, that's fine. But to take gifts off of people when you are not even being, to take regular gifts off of people, I mean, it'd be interesting to know the address of where those are sent to, because you can reverse search that as well.
It's a PO box, isn't it?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, of course it is.
I've got somewhere. I'll have to have a look, because I've not checked into that, actually.
Yeah, because sometimes, I mean, the one thing with America is they do have lots of information online, and you can just type somebody's name in and it'll tell you every address they've lived in and things like that. It's kind of a bit crazy. Might cost you $1, but the information's there. But yeah, I just think, I don't even know.
I think I just find it incredible that his conscience didn't prick him enough to think, I'm taking money and gifts off of people who I'm completely lying to. There cannot be any remorse there whatsoever for this charade to be going on for so many years. How could you possibly do that?
And is this person sat there laughing?
Yeah.
Well, there is a link. There is a link to a blog that we can't prove that Sean wrote it, but it is a link to a blog. It's fatphobic, transphobic. It's not great, to be honest. So I mean, I read feel like he's been laughing at us for quite some time. Taking money, hoodwinking us all to think he's this person, and sat behind us laughing, really, that nobody's figured it out until now.
Yeah.
Giving me your money.
It is quite narcissistic as well, really, isn't it? To sort of think I can get away with this. And also, you know, to be confronted with the evidence, to be sort of, you know, most normal people would be like, oh shit, I better either come clean or just erase everything, just go. But they're not.
Well,
they're
in the message to him, he wasn't presented with the evidence, and he wasn't presented with the people who have been involved in it. It was simply a case of, look, we know you're not who you say you are.
Yeah.
Come clean, please. Do everybody the courtesy of apologising, coming clean. And he's not done that. Simple as that. No. He's not done that. No. I think he's waited to see if we're bluffing.
Yeah, I think there's calling your bluff, isn't it? And just saying, go on then, do it. But again, obviously, probably thinks they can talk their way out of it. Probably thinking they won't have enough.
If after this blog comes out, Sabrina is Sabrina, and she's got a way to explain everything, go nuts. You know, explain, because no matter how you cut it, there's something really wrong in this whole setup. But if she wants to come online and she wants to be honest, great. I just don't think that's going to happen. I think it's they're either going to disappear or double down and say it's all false, or we're going after him, or, you know, whatever. I can't imagine that they're going to have the backbone to apologise and admit what they've done. No,
I can't see it now. I mean, yeah, it'll be interesting to see, like you say, how this plays out now, because it's just mad. It's just mad, because obviously we have seen all the evidence. Like, I wouldn't be suggesting we do this if there wasn't a huge amount. I would say
there is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, at least 8 independent people who have gone through the evidence. Independent, they've done their own research and done their own thing.
We've all found the same thing. We've all gone. I think the other day I was like, oh my God, there's some stuff on Pinterest. And Ali, you were like, yeah, we've already found that. You didn't even tell me what you'd found. I was the one going, did you know there's stuff on Pinterest for an account for him? And the stuff that's on there is all linked to lesbian stuff.
And it's all the same pictures that are being posted on Instagram as Sabrina Kane. So, you know, they all match up. Everything, whatever he's posted on his accounts, she's posted on her accounts.
Yeah, I think on Pinterest, on Sean David Wright's Pinterest, there was a list of lesbian jokes that I believe has possibly been used by Sabrina Kane. So there's just links left, right, and centre. As far as I'm concerned, there's no doubt. I would be amazed if Sabrina was able to come up with plausible reasons why there is so many links to Sean, to this model. You know, it's just.
Well, you know, Sabrina Kane, if you want to come on the podcast and prove yourself, here we are. You know, we've got we can do that for you, and we can apologise if that's the case.
But I was like, that would be if I could get you on this podcast.
Come on.
I mean, it would be, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
We would have been like,
if you are who you say you are, you should have no problem now. In fact, actually, you should be wanting to get on everything you can to be like, oh my God,
apologising if any of this is a misunderstanding. If Sabrina wants to explain any of it, ears are open, you know, happy to listen.
Because I mean,
we're not gunning for the person, we just want the truth. We found this stuff out, now you have to say yes or no. Is it true or is it not?
I've always been, you know, I've always argued, you know, with the AI stuff, you know, you can't just accuse people of stuff. You can't just ruin someone's career. You can't, you know,
which is exactly why this wasn't just announced on Facebook and socials. No, not
exactly.
At all.
You know, this has had to have that proper. Let's look through it. Let's get all the links. Let's get all our ducks in a row. Let's make sure before we say or do anything publicly that this person is, and then give them a chance to then explain it. You know, and I think yeah, I don't think you guys could have done anything differently to what you've done. Like it has to come out now.
Absolutely, it does.
Because if it doesn't, if you don't say anything now, you guys are complicit in the lie.
Yeah, and
You know
certainly
what I
don't
mean?
want to sit in anything like that.
Yeah.
I think authors, to a degree, we are privileged to talk to the people that we talk to, and like I said before, have earned the trust. For example, when I wrote Broken Parts Included, which was very personal to me, I had people emailing me with their personal stories about their health and whatnot. They put their
I had the same with the
I
Promise.
was who I say I am, and I'm listening. I would have been mortified to find out that I told some 50-year-old male about my periods. Do you know what I mean? I would have been mortified. So it's just beyond belief for me that somebody has got such low morals, low anything, that they are quite happy to treat other people that way. It baffles me.
It's like you were saying, Claire, about because you're involved with this person, you don't want other people to think you knew about it. I mean, when I found out about it, like I said, there was another person in the group chat, and I was like, I can't leave this person in there. I cannot leave this person. So message said, can I have your phone number? I need to talk to you. And straight away she was like, yeah, what's going on? So I told her, and she was like, kept saying all the way through, again, like me, there was just little things, but you just kind of passed over it because you thought they didn't want people to know about this, that, and the other. It's fine.
It's human nature, isn't it? Like, we look for the good in people. If we're good people, we look at people as, you know, treat people as you expect to be treated, kind of thing. So when somebody is saying something and it's just like
Pinging
tinily, but it's not enough to really make you go, you know, like if I sat here and went, oh, do you love my blue top? You'd all be like, are you colorblind? You know, like you'd straight away be like, what are you talking about? But if I said to, you know, oh, do you like my grey top? Well, actually, I mean, is it grey? I don't know. Is it grey? You know what I mean? Like, there's enough of a bit of there I could say, well, no, it's grey. And you might go, that's beige. I mean, you know, it is quite blue, but, you know, whatever, it's lighting. It's that thing of that's what people who tell lies do. They tell just enough of a lie that it's almost believable. And because you have no reason to mistrust what they're saying, you kind of just like, oh, okay. And also, they're not that important, if you know what I mean, in the grand scheme of things. Like, it's not like it's your partner. Like you come home and your partner said something and you're like, you what? That's like completely unbelievable. It's just somebody who is just on the computer, and it's over a long period of time, over very, very many conversations where, again, they're not conversations that you remember. They're just bit conversations. They go, and then it's only later when someone says, well, what about this, and this? And then it starts to, all those little pings start to go bing, 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 bing. And like, and it all comes together. And then you're like, oh my God, you know, that now makes sense.
You were like, oh, that's why they said this, you know, and that's why they said that. But at the time, you just kind of brushed over it, or I just laughed a lot. Like, she would talk about, not in depth what they did, but oh my God, her and Katie were always having sex all the time. And I was just like, yeah, whatever. I just thought that was part of the joke. Do you know what I mean? Kind of like, oh, we're this risky young couple. And I was like, yeah, of course you are. Moving on, let's go. No, but now it's like, that's what you thought you should be doing.
I would be kind of thinking as well, was that an attempt to get you to talk about your sex life? Do you know what I mean? Like, if I talk about it and if I'm open about what we're up to, then you might start telling me about your sex life, and then I can get off on that. Do you know what I mean? And that to me is just creepy as fuck.
Yeah.
You know, because again, even with my best mates, we don't really talk about sex in that sense. Do you know what I mean? We might be like, have a bit of a laugh about
talk to Crystal about it, because you have to talk to Crystal about these things, because she opens her mouth and says these things. So I'm comfortable talking about anything with people that I trust.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very small group of people.
If it's in context of what we were talking about, or if, for example, someone says a word and I'm juvenile and come out with a silly joke about it, huge difference. But if all of a sudden you've got somebody who's trying to goad you into talking about their sex life, I'd go, okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a bit weird. If like we were having a conversation now and then all of a sudden one of you starts waffling on, I'd be like, really? Do we need to know about that? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not
conversation.
I did show these pair of my porn plates earlier on, which I'm there.
Yeah, we have seen your porn plates.
That was not me trying to get them to talk about their sex lives.
No, but do you know what I mean, though? It's like, if that was a private conversation, you men might start thinking, oh, is this person flirting with me? Or is this, you know, and if you're somebody who is feeling lonely or, you know, doesn't really have a partner or whatever, and then there's this really attractive person flirting with you, you might, you know, people do fall into that kind of romanticizing things. And who knows what other people have been talking to about with them?
I think it can only be an attention thing.
Of course,
you know, everything is about was about them getting attention on themselves and being idolized as this beautiful woman. So it was absolutely an ego. But for me, I think it's going on a bit of a fetish thing because, you know, that was obviously a need for him to know that people were thinking about her body or her sex. You know, come on, that's
exactly. We all enjoy a compliment if it's genuinely given and, you know, whatever, but you're not out there fishing for it.
Make me uncomfortable anyway. I think that's a British thing. If somebody compliments you, like, okay,
I don't know.
Right, yeah.
But okay. But yeah, I think, like, you know, if you know, I'm always posting pictures and things, and of course I'm always going to pick the best picture of myself. I'm not going to put one out where I look like a tramp. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to sell myself to a certain extent as like, please come and read my books. So, you know, I use images as marketing tools as such. Do you know what I mean? Like, gets people talking, but I'm not looking for someone to go, oh, you're amazing, oh, you're gorgeous. I would be like,
but you're not also on there saying, oh, look at my gorgeous photo, look how
exactly, here's me in a bikini, or oh, look at this, you know, a bit of a cleavage shot. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
oh, this is Katie's body. I think that was one a couple of months ago where it was just the side photo.
You know, you don't want to post things because it's your girlfriend, but you are posting things about your girlfriend. Like,
that's the point. That's what I was saying. It was all contradictory.
It's mixed signals.
Can't post because of privacy, but then I'm going to post body shots of me and my girlfriend and talk about how beautiful we are. What? So remind me again why you can't face chat, because you don't want people to know who you are. You know what I mean? What?
Yeah, exactly. It's all
like you said at the time. You kind of read it or look at it and might slightly think something like that, but then you move on because
it's in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't that important to you. Do you know what I mean? Like,
just the way they are. I'm just
the way they are, whatever.
To me, it was always, she was supposed to be this. I don't even know what she was supposed to do. She worked in an office building. I cannot tell you. I never asked because I wasn't interested in that way. It was like I was interested in the books and other stuff. But she was always supposed to be off somewhere with work, like traveling or whatever. Then her and Katie didn't know how to boil potatoes. There was a whole thing about that online. You're supposed to be highly intelligent, but you don't know how to boil potatoes. But then in the next breath, I was thinking, but there are people out there that like that. It was like...
But this is the thing, you know, the lie that gets told is generally one where you think, well, it's plausible.
Yeah.
It's plausible. Like, who am I to say you're an idiot for not knowing how to boil potatoes, or you're an idiot for, like, you just don't, do you? And to a certain extent, you know, when you've got a platform that people are following you because they think you're something special to them, do you know what I mean? Whether, you know, as an author or as a TV star or a singer, whatever it is, you know, these people are technically fans of you and your work, and you're kind of just leading them up a garden path. They're not there to look for things wrong with you. They're there because they think you're kind of exciting and they want to talk to you. So they feel when they're getting into like little private groups, it's that thing of like, oh my God, I get to talk to so and so.
Exactly.
Like they treat me as a friend. Like,
Yeah.
I feel special now. I feel special now because and we've all done it. I might get a footballer at one of my teams likes my post, and I'm like, oh, how exciting! They've seen my post. You get excited about it because that's human nature. We idolize people. We put people into positions on a pedestal. And and we enjoy it when they notice us. So if somebody's noticing you to the extent that they're having private conversations with you, like, why would you be looking for things wrong with that? Like, nobody is. You're enjoying the fact that you're feeling special about it.
Now my worry about it is sort of where we go from here, really, because that's once again yet another blow to the community, which we're already bloody suffering with frigging AI pirates and bloody, you name it, we're going through it at the moment. And to add this to the bloody mountain of shit that we've got to read and listen to and get our heads around.
I think the thing is just to not panic. Like, these things happen, okay? It's not nice. It is what it is. But you know what? In 6 months' time, we won't remember this person, and it'll be done. Yeah. It's the same as, like, I to be honest, I didn't know anything really about this Adam Gaffin. I missed all of that somehow. I had to go and look it up. Do you know what I mean? Because I wasn't part of any of that. So, these people come along.
Reading the books at that time, so I kind of missed the first part of it and knew little bits about after it, but like you, I didn't really know about it.
I had no idea who he was or what he was pretending to be, or I still don't, to be honest. I've not kept that information in my head, and the same with I remember with I can't even remember her name. There was an author, Maggie something, who pretended she had cancer, and Melissa Therese had to do the same thing as SJ Hart has done and call it out. And you don't do that with half guesses. You do it because you do it because the evidence is there. But these people are very few and far between. And yes, it just feels like everything's on top of us at the moment because of AI and stuff. But even with the AI stuff, these pirates, they're a pain in the arse. But they'll go away at some point when they realize there's not really much money to be made out of it, that nobody is going to pick up their books and go, oh, that was fascinating, let's make that a #1 seller. They can't market it, they can't promote it, they can't do anything. Like, all they can do is hope. They put them out there and hope that a couple of people might read them and they get a few pennies for it before Amazon locks them down. That, we're quite good in this community. We have people like Jay who is just on it and just able to just
watchdog, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. She's amazing. And once that word is out between us, we all just hop on it and we go report, and they're gone. So yes, it's frustrating. Yes, it's annoying. Yes, it's hurtful. But at the end of the day, I think that 99.99999% of people in this community are decent, nice people going about their day, and we need to remember that, and don't allow these one-offs to bring up our anxiety to such a point where everyone's online going, oh my God, I'm not reading another book, and that's just hurting you. If that's how you end up looking at it. If you end up just being like, well, I'm never going to read another book on Amazon, or I'm never going to read another book by this author, or I'm never going to trust, and that's just hurting you.
But I would say to anybody watching this, if you have been affected by Sabrina Kane, or you are somebody who opened up and this is personal to you, please feel free to go and talk to somebody. This is not nothing. It's not a case of, oh, I just let it go, because
absolutely
it's a betrayal of trust. So if you are feeling shitty in any way, go and speak to somebody about it, seriously. But even speak to your friends, or if there's an author you want to reach out to that is involved and you need a bit of
clarity or whatever,
clarity, do it. But what I will say, and I think, Leah, you felt that little bit, and I think it needs to be said, is that nobody who has been sucked in by this bullshit is to blame.
Absolutely.
Nobody. is not on you. You are not stupid because you didn't see the signs or anything like that. No, this is all on the person who has lied. Simple as that.
Yeah.
I mean, that, think about 24 hours of it, because I went through the whole, oh my God, I'm so fucking gullible. And then I went through, and then my partner said, you haven't done anything. You haven't done anything wrong. You built a friendship. The person that's done something wrong is the other end.
Yeah.
So then I went, like you said, thought about, as a community, we're not going to take this on. This is not on our shoulders. This is on this person's shoulders. We haven't done anything wrong. We've trusted them. We've talked to them. We've reviewed their books. We've pushed their books, and because we wanted to, because we liked the books. We've done. We're the decent people. You are the one that has done something wrong. So I am not.
Absolutely.
I don't even feel angry as much about it anymore, and I definitely don't feel gullible and guilty.
No.
I thought it's creating a friendship with someone because it's not in my consciousness to behave that way.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't even occur to me. Yes, we all know that there are people online who aren't who they say you are.
Yeah.
And you think you're still watching out and you're careful. There's still going to be someone that's going to slip through that net. But
Always.
I am definitely not taking the blame for being
for all the people that have been involved in it. We just want it to be over now, over and done with, out in the open, so we can all move on.
As you know.
Obviously, there's be a lot of readers that are going to take a lot of time to get to the point where we are. We've been fortunate because we've all been able to talk and have that community to be able to move past it, and just want to make sure that the readers who are affected know that they should do the same. Talk to people, and don't feel like this is all on your shoulders, because it's absolutely not. Absolutely.
And I think, I'm sure we will have posts on our social platforms where people can come and have those conversations if they want, and they can have a rant, and they can say whatever they need to say, and we can be supportive of that. And if they want to talk in private, then inboxes are open, kind of thing. But yeah, like I say, it's not about us, it's not about you, it's about them. And like I say, they're very few and far between, these people. So it's frustrating, it's hurtful, but you know what, in 2 months' time, nobody will remember this person. That they will be insignificant, and we will all still be here, and readers will still be here, and we'll all be enjoying ourselves and reading books and making new friendships.
And at the end of the day, every single time this happens, it renews my faith in our community, because we all come together, we all talk, we all take action, and we all support each other, whether that's author and reader or author, we all do it. We're on it. Like with the AI pirates, people were on it. People were reporting, and this is exactly the same. And that's what we need to take from this, is that once again, it will bring us closer together. Yeah. Simple as that.
I mean, I've said to, so obviously I've discussed it with my friends and stuff, and even they're like, what? This is crazy. And I've spoken about this person as well. Yeah. And I just, when it first all came out, we started looking into it, I was like, they have picked the wrong community, mate. Because for starters, there are obviously, like Jay, you guys, you will look into stuff. If there's any slight little niggle, it will get looked into. Absolutely. And then, like you said, then we'll put a bubble around the community and say, we're supporting you. We found this stuff out. But like you said, Alison, don't put it on yourselves. This has nothing to do with us. Yeah. We've got to look after each other. And I was like, you have picked the wrong group to... It might have taken this long, but it will come out. So just be honest. Just say.
That's it. And there you go. There's a message for any author who writes under a pen name who is a bloke. Fine. Nobody's saying you cannot write sapphic fiction if you're a man. But for the love of God, do not do this. Do not build these worlds where you are lying. It is no point, because as soon as you're found out, that's it. You've lost all credibility, all of it. And it's not worth it, because Saphics don't hate men. It's not about that.
And I think that's what they think, though, don't they?
There are some women who won't read men stories from men, and that's their personal choice. That's fine. But there are a lot out there who, if it's a good book, a good story, they're gonna read it. You do not need to lie like that. You don't need to do it. And you're giving men who do write sapphic fiction a bad name. You're giving them a bad rep, and that's not fair.
Yeah, because exactly, there are a lot of great writers out there who are men, who are writing as men, being honest about who they are, you know. Now they're going to possibly get a bit of a backlash from some people, maybe because of things like this, and that's unfair. It's not, like I say, it's nobody else's fault. It's just this person. So, but anyway, I think we'll leave it at that note and say our goodbyes to the community, not each other, because we can still chat afterwards. But we've hit an hour, and who wants to listen to us ranting on for 50 more years? So we'll see you all next time at the next proper, hopefully proper, just monthly recording. And ciao.
Bye.